Okay, here is an example of the existing nails at the Eden Foods building project and what they look like today. You can see where the nail was at the point of connection from the nail head through the plywood. The plywood has been damp for so long, the nail has just rusted away. The bottom portion is still semi-intact because that was down into the 2x4 sub-purlins, so they didn't absorb as much moisture. But here's one where the head is just completely not on it anymore. This is what the nails are supposed to look like. These are new nails. Most of the plywood nails throughout the entire plywood nailing in the project are like this. This is not good. It needs to be re-nailed because these are no longer structurally sound nails, and the building would suffer in an earthquake. Here's some of the panels we tore off. You can see where the edges are just deteriorated and just rotted off completely. Had to be replaced. Here's an example of the top flange hangers and how rusty they are. It's really thin metal and it's just can't be subjected to moisture because it just rusts like any other metal. And these have been in moisture for a long time. You can see they're not really connected to the building anymore, which is not good because this is what supports the sub-purlins in the roof. So something needs to happen with these. Okay, this is an example of a pretty common condition out at the Eden Foods building project. The plywood, where they butt together at a purlin, it tends to absorb more moisture where the two seams come together. So this plywood just comes right off of this purlin. Right, this is just an example of some of the damaged materials that we're taking off the roof at the Eden Foods project. Here's an example of what looks is a good, perfectly good 2x4 purlin. However, you can see all the nails have rotted or rusted and deteriorated. Then at the end, the top flange hanger just was completely rusted, rotted out. We have to replace this 2x4 purlin even though it looks good, because the only way to solve the hanger problem is to get the purlin out of there. It's sort of squeezed in by this hanger. Here's another purlin. From the bottom and the side, it looks fairly decent. But once you look at the top, you can see where it's just all rotted out. Those have to be replaced. And it's not always evident by looking at them standing on the ground floor of the building. There's more rotted sub-purlins. Nails just rusted away to nothing. Here's where we staged all the damaged roof framing and sheathing that we removed on approximately 35 to 40% of the building so far. We anticipate probably, I would say, another pile this size, if not more, for the remainder of the roof. Here's some of the damage that you see, just rotted plywood, unsalvageable. Nothing you can do but replace it, unfortunately. It's a panelized system. There's no way to repair this other than just by removal and installing back as new. Okay, here we are on top of the Eden Foods roof building. This is one thing I wanted to point out. Here is a roof hatch, and the plywood needs to be replaced. The problem is the roof hatch sits on top of the plywood, so the roof hatch is going to have to be removed, repair the damaged plywood around it, and then put the roof hatch back on. For the most part, we're done demoing up to where the roofer stopped his demo. The plywood, the remaining plywood that we've left on looks adequate. It's not perfect, it's not good, but I think it is sufficient. There are areas that I probably would have recommended to be repaired, such as this area here, where you can see the nails and the plywood's delaminated. But in an effort to conserve, we only pulled up the stuff that we thought was absolutely 100% necessary to repair. Please notice the roof screen over here. I know there's damage to the plywood and the purlins below that roof screen, and that roof screen is sitting. Some of the roof straps are really rusty, but I think they're okay. Some of these sub-purlins we haven't replaced yet, but they're going to need it. Particularly those. There's an example of the rusted top flange hanger. There's virtually nothing left of it. It's brittle as can be, and it's just going to fall.